Now to major developments late today in the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash investigation. The preliminary report from the NTSB just in tonight, and what we've now learned. Here's Adrian Bankert.
Have you heard about the tragic death of the late famous basketball player Kobe Bryant? In the fog-shrouded sky of January 26, 2020, the final moments of Kobe Bryant's life unfolded in a scene of chilling uncertainty. As the helicopter carried the basketball icon through a murky haze, destiny's cruel hand was poised to deliver a heart-wrenching end. Stay calm to listen to his last suffocating moments. On a frigid gray Sunday morning in the winter of 2020, Ara Zobayan, a seasoned helicopter pilot, stood in the Atlantic Aviation Terminal at John Wayne International Airport in Orange County, California. The terminal was quiet, save for the low hum of activity as ground staff prepared for the day's operations. Zobayan, his breath visible in the chilly air, peered intently at his flight planning app. The news was disheartening. The app displayed a thick, unyielding blanket of clouds shrouding the city, with only sporadic patches of haze visible beneath. This weather forecast posed a significant challenge for Zobayan, as it rendered large portions of the region unsuitable for flight, a formidable obstacle for a helicopter pilot whose business thrived on overcoming such hurdles. Zobayan's employer, OC Helicopters, had been contracted to transport NBA superstar Kobe Bryant and 7 of his companions to Camarillo, a coastal airport situated about 80 miles to the northwest. This mission was not just another flight. It was a critical opportunity for Zobayan to elevate his profile and that of his company. Island Express Helicopters, the small firm for which Zobayan worked, operated a fleet of only 6 helicopters and employed as many pilots. Their primary business revolved around ferrying passengers to and from Long Beach and Catalina Island, a picturesque tourist spot located 20 miles off the coast. However, the real prize lay in custom charter flights for high-net-worth individuals like Kobe Bryant. These lucrative assignments were the lifeblood of Island Express, providing both substantial revenue and prestige. Kobe Bryant's patronage was a boon for Island Express. According to former Island Express pilot Kirk Deeds, the association with such a high-profile client conferred a certain sheen upon the company. Bryant's repeated use of their services was a testament to their reliability and quality, and maintaining his satisfaction was of paramount importance. For Zobayan, ensuring that Kobe and his entourage reached their destination safely and punctually was not merely a professional obligation. It was a matter of personal pride and a reflection of his dedication to his craft. On the morning of January 26, 2020, Kobe Bryant and his companions prepared for their journey to Camarillo, boarding the Sikorsky S-76B, a state-of-the-art twin-engine helicopter renowned for its safety and reliability. This aircraft was one of the most trusted in the industry, designed to offer a secure and smooth flying experience. Yet, despite the Sikorsky's impressive safety record, the challenges of the day extended beyond the helicopter's capabilities. Island Express, the company responsible for this flight, was certified to operate under Visual Flight Rules VFR. This certification required that pilots maintain visual contact with the ground at all times, a rule designed to ensure the safety of flights under clear conditions. On this particular morning, however, the weather was anything but clear. As Zobayan reviewed the weather map, it was starkly colored red, a glaring warning sign that the direct route to Camarillo, which flew over the coast, was fraught with peril due to hazardous conditions. Brick Webb, the owner of OC Helicopters, had come to the terminal to assist with the boarding process. He, too, was concerned by the weather map Zobayan presented. The red hues on the screen indicated that flying directly to Camarillo was deemed too dangerous under the existing conditions. Despite the urgency of the situation, Zobayan was prepared with a contingency plan. He suggested an alternative route that would divert the flight inland, skirting east of downtown Los Angeles to avoid the worst of the weather. This route, though safer, would extend the flight time considerably. The safety of the flight was supposedly backed by an electronic risk assessment tool, a sophisticated checklist with 69 criteria designed to evaluate the potential hazards of a flight. This tool generated a risk score, with a score above 45 necessitating consultation with company management before proceeding. Given the significance of the flight and the urgency expressed by Bryant and his party, Zobayan opted to bypass this step. He was aware of the pressing schedule and the importance of timely arrival, so he proceeded to submit the flight plan without the additional risk assessment consultation. The car carrying Bryant and the group from the Mamba Sports Academy was delayed, adding a layer of urgency to the already tense situation. Bryant, having recently retired from an illustrious NBA career, was deeply invested in his daughter Gianna's future. His retirement had opened new avenues for him to channel his passion for basketball, and he had dedicated a significant part of his time to nurturing Gianna's athletic potential. Gianna, only 13 years old, was at the heart of this journey. Kobe had established Team Mamba, a basketball team specifically designed for young girls, with Gianna as a prominent player. This team, which practiced and played in Orange County, was not just a project for Bryant, but a manifestation of his commitment to fostering the next generation of talent. The team was more than just a group of young athletes. It was a reflection of Bryant's belief in the transformative power of sports and his desire to impart his knowledge and experience to the younger generation. Accompanying Gianna were several other key figures from their close-knit basketball community. Peyton Chester, another promising young player, was traveling with her mother, Sarah Chester. The Chesters were integral members of this basketball circle, sharing a bond with the Bryants forged through countless games and practices. Also part of this group was Alyssa Altobelli, a teammate and friend of Gianna's, accompanied by her parents Carrie and John Altobelli. The Altobellis were also deeply involved in the local basketball scene, their presence underscoring the tight-knit nature of the community surrounding Team Mamba. In addition to these young athletes and their families, Christina Mauser, the assistant coach of Team Mamba, was present. Mauser had become an essential part of the team through her connection with Gianna's private school, where she and Bryant had first crossed paths. Her role was crucial, supporting Bryant in coaching and mentoring the young athletes, and her inclusion in this journey highlighted the collaborative spirit of Team Mamba. The group's destination was Thousand Oaks, where a basketball tournament awaited them. This event was a significant opportunity for the young players to showcase their skills and for Bryant to further immerse himself in his post-NBA life, which had increasingly revolved around coaching and supporting Gianna's team. The tournament represented not just a competitive opportunity, but also a chance for the community to come together and celebrate their shared passion for the sport. The night before the flight, a change in plans was set into motion. Bryant's personal assistant had contacted OC Helicopters to request an adjustment to the departure time, moving it from the originally scheduled 9:45 a.m. to an earlier 9 a.m. This alteration was made to accommodate Bryant's need to check out earlier, a small adjustment in the grand scheme of the day, but one that highlighted the meticulously planned nature of such high-profile engagements. By the morning of January 26, 2020, the group was assembled and ready for departure. Team Mamba, dressed in identical black tracksuits, was a striking sight. Each suit bore the recognizable Nike swoosh and the white Mamba Sports Academy logo, symbolizing their unity and the spirit of their shared journey. The uniforms were more than just apparel. They represented the cohesive team spirit that Bryant had fostered among his young athletes. Despite the urgency of the rescheduled departure, Bryant was running behind schedule. This was not unusual for the former NBA superstar, whose busy lifestyle often meant that he was cutting things close to the wire. However, the delay did little to dampen the energy and anticipation of the group. According to Whitney Baggy of Island Express, as soon as Bryant emerged from the car, a flurry of activity ensued. Zobayan, the pilot, swiftly retreated to the cockpit to prepare for the flight. Meanwhile, Brick Webb, the owner of OC Helicopters, took on the role of guiding the passengers to the waiting Sikorsky helicopter. The Sikorsky S-76B was a marvel of aviation design, reflecting a blend of luxury and functionality. The interior of the helicopter was spacious and meticulously appointed. Polished mahogany veneer adorned the cabin, its rich dark tones contrasting elegantly with the gold-colored accents that provided a touch of opulence. The two-tone leather bench seats added to the sense of comfort and sophistication, offering a plush environment for the passengers as they prepared for their journey. As the clock ticked closer to the departure time, the final preparations were made. At precisely 9:06 a.m., the Sikorsky's fuselage tilted forward, signaling the imminent liftoff. The turbines roared to life with a powerful, throaty growl, and the distinctive thumping of the rotor blades grew louder and more pronounced. This rhythmic percussion resonated through the cabin, a reminder of the sheer force and engineering prowess required to propel the aircraft into the sky. For enthusiasts of helicopters, these machines embody a unique sense of freedom. They are known for their noisy, powerful engines and their high cost, yet they offer an unparalleled capability, the ability to take off and land in virtually any location. This versatility imbues helicopters with a kind of magic, a promise of exploration and access to otherwise unreachable places. On this particular morning, Kobe Bryant's favorite seat on the Sikorsky S-76B was the left window seat facing forward. From this vantage point, Bryant enjoyed unobstructed views of the world below, a perspective he cherished. On a clear day, the vista would have extended all the way to the distant mountains, a breathtaking panorama of natural beauty. However, today was not one of those days. The weather was uncooperative, and the usual clarity was replaced by a thick haze that obscured the horizon. The city beneath them was a patchwork quilt of white and gray, interspersed with small, vibrant green patches representing parks and golf courses. As the helicopter ascended and flew north, Zobayan, who was piloting the Sikorsky, navigated through the limited visibility. Despite the haze, certain landmarks began to emerge from the fog like islands in a misty sea. Zobayan's keen eye picked out recognizable features: the airfield at Los Alamitos, the Coyote Creek Flood Control Channel, and the intricate network of the 605 freeway's looping interchanges. Even through the haze, the Union Pacific Rail Yard in East LA made a discernible appearance, its tracks and trains partially visible through the murky veil. Zobayan's ability to identify these landmarks was not merely a result of his flying experience, but also a reflection of his deep knowledge of geography. Born and raised in Lebanon, he developed an early appreciation for the intricacies of navigation and the lay of the land. When he moved to the United States as a teenager, his passion for aviation drove him to work as a parking attendant to save up for flying lessons. This determination and hard work paid off, and he obtained his helicopter license in 2001. By 2011, Zobayan was working for Island Express Helicopters, where he built a reputation for excellence and reliability. His skill and dedication earned him a clientele that included high-profile celebrities like Kylie Jenner and LA Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard, who frequently relied on his services. Flying in Los Angeles presents a unique and intricate challenge for pilots, akin to solving a complex puzzle. The city's airspace is among the busiest in the world, teeming with the activity of commercial and private jets, and even the occasional jetpack carrier. This bustling aerial environment requires meticulous navigation and adherence to a multitude of airspace rules designed to ensure safety amidst the congestion. One of the most significant hazards for pilots in Los Angeles is the risk of inadvertent flight into instrument meteorological conditions, IMC. IMC occurs when a pilot unexpectedly encounters poor weather conditions, such as low visibility or thick fog, that require reliance on instruments rather than visual cues for navigation. This situation can be perilous, and has been the cause of numerous fatal accidents, including the tragic incident involving John F. Kennedy, Jr., which underscores the importance of avoiding such scenarios. To mitigate the risks associated with IMC, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has implemented stringent regulations. These rules mandate that pilots, including Zobayan, undergo specialized training and take courses focused on preventing inadvertent IMC encounters. This training equips pilots with the skills to handle adverse weather conditions and navigate safely even when visibility is compromised. As the Sikorsky S-76B made its way away from downtown Los Angeles, the passengers inside were treated to a series of breathtaking views. The helicopter flew past Dodger Stadium, a landmark easily recognizable to baseball fans, and the Los Angeles River, which snaked its way through the cityscape below. The sights offered a unique perspective of the sprawling urban environment, providing a stark contrast to the dense haze that had initially obscured their view. Ahead, the Santa Monica Mountains rose majestically on the horizon. This vast expanse of green stretched eastward from Malibu to Beverly Hills, forming a dramatic natural barrier. However, the peaks were veiled by low-hanging clouds, adding an element of mystery to the landscape. Despite the visual allure of the mountains, Zobayan was acutely aware of the challenge they posed. He knew that navigating through these mountains required precision and knowledge of the terrain. Zobayan's experience and expertise came into play as he approached a crucial navigational point, a 4-mile gap near the LA Zoo. This gap was a key passage through the mountainous region, offering a pathway that would allow the Sikorsky to continue its journey toward the San Fernando Valley. This valley, often referred to as the back door to Camarillo, was the next step on the route to their destination. As the Sikorsky S-76B soared past the Silver Lake Reservoir, it transitioned into uncontrolled airspace. In this region, there was no direct oversight from air traffic control, presenting a mix of freedom and challenge for the pilot. The helicopter now traversed an area where aircraft were not monitored in real time, relying on the pilot's skill and judgment to navigate safely. However, beyond the mountains lay a more regulated environment, Burbank Airport. This airport was under strict surveillance, with a control tower that monitored and managed incoming and outgoing flights to ensure orderly and safe operations. To gain entry into this controlled airspace, Zobayan needed explicit permission from the airport's control tower. At precisely 9:20 a.m., Zobayan made a radio call to request clearance for entry into Burbank airspace. The response from the control tower was discouraging. Permission was denied due to low visibility conditions and the presence of a SkyWest jet that was preparing to land. The control tower's decision was influenced by the safety protocols designed to prevent conflicts between aircraft in the congested airspace. Undeterred, Zobayan sought an alternative route by requesting Special Visual Flight Rules (SVFR) clearance. SVFR is a provision that allows pilots to fly under visual flight rules even when conditions fall below standard visibility requirements, provided there are no other aircraft in the immediate vicinity. This clearance was crucial for Zobayan to proceed despite the unfavorable weather conditions. As he awaited a response, Zobayan began a holding pattern, circling the helicopter at just 400 feet above the residential area of Glendale. This maneuver was a strategic way to remain within a controlled zone while waiting for the necessary authorization to enter Burbank airspace. The homes below appeared as tiny dots against the expansive landscape, a stark reminder of the tightrope Zobayan was walking between operational demands and safety considerations. At 9:32 a.m., after a tense 11 minutes of circling the Glendale area, Zobayan finally received the long-awaited clearance to enter Burbank airspace. However, the situation remained complex. Due to departing traffic, he faced a mandatory detour around the San Fernando Valley, which further extended the delay and compounded the difficulties of the already challenging flight conditions. The primary concern for Zobayan, however, was not just the detour, but the persistent thick layer of clouds that had been an unwelcome companion since leaving Orange County. These clouds had been a looming threat, obscuring visibility and complicating navigation. If the pass through the San Fernando Valley was blocked by the cloud cover, Zobayan's options would be severely limited. He would have to consider either returning to Van Nuys or finding a suitable place to land and wait for the fog to lift, neither of which were ideal scenarios for a high-profile flight. By 9:40 a.m., Zobayan exited Van Nuys airspace and maneuvered the Sikorsky to the southwestern corner of the San Fernando Valley. This maneuver allowed him to transition into uncontrolled airspace, where he would have greater flexibility but also less oversight. In this new phase of the flight, Zobayan made a crucial call to SoCal Approach, a regional air traffic control center responsible for providing real-time weather updates and air traffic advisories for the region. Southern California Approach, Helicopter 72EX with you, transitioning in VFR conditions at 1,500 feet to Camarillo, Zobayan radioed, indicating his intention to proceed under visual flight rules while maintaining an altitude of 1,500 feet. The controller on the other end responded with, "SoCal Approach, Roger. You just gonna stay down low at that for all the way to Camarillo?" "Yes, sir, low altitude," Zobayan confirmed, emphasizing his plan to remain at this altitude to avoid potential issues with the cloud layer and to maintain visual reference as much as possible. As the Sikorsky S-76B continued its journey, Zobayan expertly guided the helicopter along the Ventura Freeway, with a keen eye on the changing landscape below. The ground beneath him gradually rose, showcasing a patchwork of suburban sprawl and commercial development. The Sikorsky flew over the commons at Calabasas, a popular shopping center known for its upscale stores and charming architecture. Below, rows of imposing McMansions in Calabasas Park Estates stood out, their expansive facades and manicured lawns a testament to the area's affluence. Nearby, a solitary water tower perched on a stubby hill, serving as a landmark in the otherwise suburban terrain. As the helicopter ascended, the terrain below was rising in tandem, creating a subtle but significant shift in the flight dynamics. The increasing altitude was a strategic maneuver by Zobayan to maintain clearance over the terrain and to navigate the upcoming cloud layer with greater ease. Although the gradual rise in ground elevation was not a major factor, it was important for Zobayan to be prepared for any changes in visibility, especially given the persistent cloud cover that had plagued the flight since the departure. In the event that he encountered a cloud, Zobayan's training in Instrument Meteorological Conditions, IMC, would become crucial. His IMC training had prepared him for situations where visual reference was lost, teaching him how to handle flight safely and efficiently, even when the weather was less than ideal. If he were to inadvertently enter a cloud, he knew the procedure. Maintain a steady course and initiate a rapid climb through the cloud layer. To manage this scenario effectively, Zobayan would engage the autopilot to maintain the desired flight direction and to set a precise rate of ascent. The autopilot system was a vital tool in ensuring that the helicopter could climb smoothly and maintain control without requiring constant manual adjustments. By setting the rate of ascent and keeping the helicopter on a steady trajectory, Zobayan could focus on navigating through the cloud layer and preparing for any further challenges. As he approached the top of the pass, Zobayan increased the helicopter's speed to 150 miles per hour. This speed was crucial for maintaining the helicopter's momentum and ensuring that the ascent was both efficient and controlled. The rapid forward motion allowed him to navigate through the top of the pass with precision, minimizing the time spent in potentially hazardous conditions and optimizing the overall safety of the flight. At 9:44 a.m., as the Sikorsky S-76B continued its flight through the challenging weather conditions, the scene was observed from the ground by a few hikers. One of them, waiting in the parking lot of the Juan Bautista de Anza East trailhead, had a clear view of the helicopter's flight. This hiker saw the helicopter, a long white aircraft moving low across the sky before it suddenly disappeared into a low-hanging blanket of clouds. From her vantage point, the helicopter seemed to vanish into the mist, leaving only a sense of awe and concern. In the cockpit of the Sikorsky, Zobayan was grappling with a critical issue. Despite his best efforts to avoid IMC, he had inadvertently flown into a situation where visual reference was lost. The thick, low-hanging clouds had enveloped the helicopter, and Zobayan was now faced with the challenge of navigating out of this disorienting and potentially dangerous situation. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Zobayan took immediate action. He withdrew the controls to initiate a climb, hoping to find a break in the cloud cover through which he could safely descend. The goal was to climb above the clouds to regain visual contact with the ground or to find a clearer path forward. The skillful maneuvering required precise control and an unwavering focus to ensure that the climb was steady and that the helicopter remained on course. In the midst of this challenging situation, Zobayan made a crucial radio call to the new controller on his frequency. "Just west of Van Nuys," he reported, providing his location as he began to climb in search of clearer air. The controller, likely already managing a busy airspace, sought clarification on Zobayan's position, asking, where are you?" As the Sikorsky S-76B surged upward into the dense clouds, Zobayan experienced a sharp rush of adrenaline. The unexpected plunge into instrument meteorological conditions, IMC, created a high-pressure situation demanding his full concentration and rapid response. This scenario was far from what he had anticipated, and the urgency of the moment pressed heavily on him. Unsettlingly, Zobayan had not adhered to the standard protocols he had learned during his IMC training. Instead of engaging the autopilot, a crucial tool for maintaining stable flight in challenging conditions, he had taken manual control of the helicopter. This decision heightened the risk of disorientation, a common issue when pilots fly manually in low-visibility conditions. As he pushed the helicopter further into the clouds, he quickly realized that the aircraft was tilting to the left, a sign of spatial misalignment and potential loss of control. In response to the tilt, Zobayan made swift corrections, adjusting the controls to stabilize the helicopter. Recognizing the critical need for assistance, he reached out to SoCal Approach's new controller, requesting that they monitor his flight closely. His request underscored the gravity of the situation and his reliance on external guidance to navigate the treacherous conditions. The climb continued as Zobayan ascended to 1,000 feet. Within the swirling mist of the clouds, there were fleeting moments of clarity, brief glimpses of the terrain or the sky that hinted he was nearing the summit of the cloud layer. Despite these occasional insights, the environment remained overwhelmingly disorienting. Zobayan made a strategic decision to climb further, aiming to reach 4,000 feet, which he hoped would provide a clearer view and a safer altitude. Over the radio, Zobayan communicated his intention to climb to 4,000 feet. "The 2 Echo X-ray, what do you say, intention?" came the query from SoCal Approach. The controller's question was a standard procedural request to confirm Zobayan's next steps and to assess his plans for continuing the flight. Zobayan was now in a precarious position, navigating a delicate balance between his training, his instincts, and the information provided by air traffic control. The situation was fraught with uncertainty, and his reliance on personal skills and experience was paramount. However, as he attempted to outline his plans, there was a troubling silence on the radio, a silence that reflected the difficulty of the situation and the challenge of communicating effectively in the midst of such turmoil. The control tower's subsequent communication, "2 Echo X-ray, you're still too low level, for flight following at this time," signaled a critical juncture. The term flight following refers to the radar services provided by air traffic control to track and guide aircraft, which was now being withheld due to the low altitude and the challenging conditions. At precisely 9:45 a.m., as the hills of Calabasas were shrouded in mist, 2 mountain bikers, resting on the trail above the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District facility, were startled by a powerful, rhythmic thumping sound. The noise pierced the quietude of the morning, cutting through the usual sounds of nature. Their attention was immediately drawn to the source of the disturbance, a blue and white helicopter that emerged abruptly from the dense cloud cover. The helicopter appeared momentarily from the obscured sky, its vivid colors contrasting starkly against the gray backdrop of the clouds. The bikers caught a fleeting glimpse of the aircraft's torso as it moved from left to right, its rotors churning and its engines roaring. The sight was both awe-inspiring and alarming, but before they could fully comprehend what they were witnessing, disaster struck. In a harrowing moment of clarity, the helicopter suddenly plummeted towards the hillside with terrifying speed. The impact was catastrophic. The once majestic aircraft collided with the steep terrain, and the force of the crash was so intense that it caused the tail and rotors to break away and fly off in different directions. The fuselage, meanwhile, continued its tumbling descent, covering another 100 meters before coming to rest in a fiery explosion. The scene was immediately engulfed in a raging circle of orange flames, a stark and devastating contrast to the morning's serene landscape. The explosion sent plumes of smoke and debris into the air, further obscuring the already foggy surroundings. The sheer intensity of the fire and the suddenness of the crash left little room for doubt. The helicopter had been irreversibly shattered, and the gravity of the situation was palpable. Without a moment's hesitation, the two mountain bikers, driven by a surge of adrenaline and a sense of urgency, sprang into action. They raced down the hillside, their initial awe and disbelief giving way to a frantic determination to reach the burning wreckage. Their descent was swift and determined, navigating the rugged terrain as they moved closer to the scene of the disaster. At 9:48 a.m., as the foggy morning continued, the staff at OC Helicopters were enveloped in an uneasy quiet. Unaware of the unfolding tragedy, Patty Taylor, the operations manager, took to her phone to send a simple group text. "Landed?" she inquired, seeking confirmation that the helicopter carrying Kobe Bryant and his companions had reached its destination. The response came swiftly from the limo driver stationed at Camarillo, but it was far from reassuring. "Not yet," was the terse reply, a message that hinted at delays but offered no explanation. Concern began to creep into Taylor's mind. This was not typical. Flights of this nature were usually punctual, and any deviation was cause for worry. Increasingly anxious, Taylor picked up the phone to contact her primary point of contact at Island Express, Vice President Bagg. She urgently asked for an update on Zobayan's location using the flight tracking software. Bagg, a figure of authority within Island Express, turned to the screen in front of him, scanning the data for information. The display showed an unsettling reality. The helicopter had not been tracked since 9:45 a.m., 3 minutes before the crash. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Bagg acted decisively. He instructed Angel Perez, the ground operations manager, to pull out the emergency response manual and initiate the emergency checklist. This protocol was a crucial step in assessing and managing potential crises, and it was clear that something had gone drastically wrong. Simultaneously, Rick Webb, the owner of OC Helicopters, took to his phone to reach out to the individuals involved. He sent out a group text to Zobayan, the limo driver, and others involved, asking, "Aura, you okay?" The message was both a plea for information and an urgent attempt to confirm the status of those on board. In response to the growing uncertainty, one of OC Helicopters' other helicopters was dispatched to the last known position of Zobayan's aircraft. The search for answers had begun, but the path ahead was fraught with the unknown. As the minutes ticked by, the situation at the crash site continued to unfold. Within just 10 minutes of the dispatch, firefighters arrived at the scene of the wreckage on the hills of Calabasas. The sight that met them was both devastating and heart-wrenching. The helicopter, once a symbol of modern aviation, lay in ruins, its fuselage engulfed in a fierce blaze. At precisely 12:05 p.m. on January 26, 2020, the world was jolted by a shattering revelation. News outlets across the globe began to report that NBA legend Kobe Bryant, along with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, had tragically died in a catastrophic helicopter crash. The news spread like wildfire, with social media platforms buzzing with speculation and misinformation, amplifying the shock and confusion that had gripped the public. Initially, the details were fragmented and often inaccurate. Rumors swirled as users shared and reshared posts, each iteration adding new layers of conjecture and sensationalism. The flood of false reports created an atmosphere of uncertainty and distress, making it difficult for the public to discern the truth amidst the chaos. Eventually, a small but credible media outlet was able to confirm the devastating news. The crash had not only claimed the lives of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, but also resulted in the deaths of 7 other passengers. The details of the accident, though tragic, became the focus of intense scrutiny as the world sought answers and explanations. For Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's widow, the tragedy was an unimaginable blow, compounded by the knowledge that it might have been preventable. As the investigation into the crash progressed, findings suggested that lapses in safety protocols and judgment may have played a role in the disaster. This revelation brought a new wave of anguish and frustration for Vanessa and the other grieving families, who were left grappling with the painful reality that this devastating loss could have been avoided. In response to the findings and the profound sense of injustice, Vanessa Bryant, along with the families of the other victims, pursued legal action against Island Express, the helicopter company responsible for the ill-fated flight. The wrongful death lawsuit aimed to hold the company accountable for the mishaps that led to the tragedy, seeking both justice and reparations for the families who had been irrevocably impacted by the loss of their loved ones. The lawsuit underscored the deep-seated desire for accountability and the pursuit of answers in the face of such a monumental loss. It was a legal and emotional struggle for justice, reflecting the broader need to address and rectify the factors that contributed to the crash. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the world continued to mourn the loss of Kobe Bryant and the other victims. The crash left an indelible mark on the lives of many, from fans and athletes to families and friends. In the midst of this grief, there was a collective hope that justice would be served and that the families of the victims would find some semblance of solace amidst their overwhelming sorrow. What do you think about Kobe Bryant's death? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.